who has several connections with our fair city, Modesto. He's been playing with the Modesto Symphony Orchestra, and he's also a member of Snergy, a group that will be performing at the Michelin Gallery. Was it February 17th at 7 p.m.? So we have a lot to talk about. Beginning with, if you notice, reading along with his very brief bio up here, is he started his musical journey at age 5. So let's start there. Let's bring him on and talk to him in person. So welcome, Paul. Thanks for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Yeah. So good place to start. 5 years old. Oh my gosh. Were you some kind of musical prodigy? What happened? What happened back then?
Oh, I'm fairly certain I was no musical prodigy. I can't imagine I sounded that good at 5. But I think my parents um, saw something that I enjoyed, creating sound and creating music to some degree, and so they decided that they'll take me to a shop, show me some instruments, figure out what I wanted to do. And so as the legend goes, my mom told me that I chose the violin out of all the instruments available to me. And I started squeaking along on it and have plagued them relentlessly to this day. So,
Okay. So were you totally caught up in the violin when you were young, or were there other interests in life that you had?
oh, I was certainly interested in a lot of things. I enjoyed a lot of movies, particularly Jurassic Park. Had a affinity for dinosaurs as well. And then later on, as I grew a little older, I really liked stargazing. And having grown up in Colorado, we get some pretty clear skies. And so I was always looking up and enjoying the night sky a lot. So,
Ah,
um,
so but music won out, and how did that happen? Yeah.
you know, I went to a music camp in Durango, Colorado, the summer before my senior year of high school. And Uh, it was my first one that I had done in a long time, and I enjoyed it a lot. And in particular, I really enjoyed my teacher at the time there. His name was Justin, and he was a member of the Atlanta Symphony, I believe, assistant concertmaster. And he really helped me discover how sensual music is, really, and how beautiful the ideas that music can convey, and that combination of being in a wonderful place with a wonderful teacher and learning more about what music can bring out of us and can evoke made me fall in love with music and made me go study it and pursue it as a career.
Uh huh. So
And
you grew up in Colorado, you said, and is that where you studied, or did you move to the? When did you move out here to California, Bay Area?
so I moved out to San Francisco in 2020, height of the pandemic, right after my undergrad. So
Oh wow, yeah.
uh, I went to the University of Colorado Boulder. I studied there for 4 years, and um, the pandemic had started, but I had decided that I wanted to go to the conservatory in San Francisco, and so I made my parents drive with me to San Francisco with all my belongings, and we moved into an apartment, had a roommate, and we started going to the conservatory together in 2020. And it was a combination of online learning and in-person lessons and whatnot. And so when there were rules in place that helped us maintain safety and security and all that, we had in-person lessons and in-person studio classes, and that was really enjoyable. And I got to learn a lot from my teacher, Cordula, at the time. And
Yeah.
so I stayed there for 3 years until 2023.
Ah, okay. Yeah. That just occurred to me. What was that like studying online with music? I mean, you usually think of music as being, an in-person kind of thing. Uh,
Well, it was a weird time for everyone.
yeah.
And I mean, I think Zoom has really evolved in the past 3 years. At the time, it definitely had a lot of quirks. There was the sound
Right.
really got it changed a lot as you performed and as you heard it through your speakers, and it distorted the audio. And what was really unfortunate was that you couldn't tell dynamics, you couldn't tell color changes at all. All you could really tell was, is it in tune and is it in time, as long as the audio didn't
Right.
space out. And so what was really helpful was that my teacher was very certain that I was playing sharp or I was playing flat. That was conveyed thoroughly. But otherwise, it was not very practical to begin with. Then when we figured out that if we had better microphones and if our internet connection was very stable, and Zoom also did their part and really enhanced the audio of it all and really made it much more accessible for musicians.
Yeah.
And that kind of education became a little bit more useful. And especially at the end of, I noticed that the end of 2021 was where we had fewer things online, but certainly that was when Zoom was most useful.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a friend who teaches all kinds of guitar. And I remember during that time, he just acquired all these fantastic microphones and speakers and everything, trying to get it so that he could do the things you're talking about. You know, so when it's, as he said, you said the same thing he did. When it started out, it was kind of quirky. You weren't quite sure what you were doing, and so we learned a lot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, what I really like about it now is that because the capabilities are much greater, it's made teaching students much more accessible. I think a lot more people have access to better education through a more simple means now.
Uh huh. So you graduated. You said you got a master's degree in performance from the conservatory. Is that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did, and I enjoyed it a lot, and I really enjoyed working with my teacher, especially. She helped
Yeah.
me a great deal.
Okay. And since then, you have been what? Professional musician, I guess. That's the global way of talking about it. So anyway, you've obviously played with a lot of different groups. I see, from your short bio. How did you get involved with Modesto Symphony?
So Modesto Symphony had an audition in the summer of 2023, and I went and took the audition, and was very fortunate to win a section position with the Modesto Symphony. And so, starting in the fall of 2023, I um, came to Modesto and I performed concerts, and I think I've been here about 5 times now. And I really
Ah,
enjoy it. I
uh-huh.
really like the city. I like the orchestra a lot. My colleagues are wonderful, very musical, very kind. And I like the conductor a lot, Nicholas Hirsch. And the programs are always very exciting and really, really engaging.
Great. So when are you going to move here?
I think about it. Pittsburgh is a great attraction, and the environment is quite pleasant. I really like Modesto.
Yeah.
Um, I once I'm sick of crossing the bridge, then
Yes.
I'll come to Modesto.
Okay. So, as I said, your second connection here is with Snergy. So, how did that come about? And what is Snergy? Maybe I should ask that first.
Interesting. So, Snergy is a group, a collective, started by Eric Schaefer. I believe in conjunction with Keith, but this part is a little unclear to me. In any case, they started this music group together called Snergy Players, and have performed chamber music in Modesto. Because what's interesting is that Modesto has a great ballet company or opera company, orchestra, um, but does not seem to have a lot of chamber music, which is something that Eric noted, and as a result, thought that it'd be really nice to bring some chamber music to Modesto. So he's created this group, has played a few concerts already, from what I understand. And I met Eric at this past summer in Bear Valley, California, at the Bear Valley Music Festival, and we read chamber music with each other after the orchestra rehearsals during the day. So in the evenings, we'd hang out, read some music, enjoy talking and relaxing, and then he invited me to come play with Snergy players uh, a month or 2 months ago.
Ah,
And as a result,
uh-huh.
we were able to get together and rehearse. And yeah, it's been a great time, actually.
Ah, so this cabaret or concert, as we call it, that you're going to be playing here on the 17th, is this your first time performing with Synergy, or have you done
So
something else? Yeah.
yeah, so this is my first time playing with Snergy at the Michelin Gallery.
Ah, okay. So you've obviously met the other people in the group. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit something about them. Let's see if we can bring them on here. Uh, there we go. Kale, Miki. So,
Yeah, so
so what can you tell me about
Kyle,
her? Yeah.
right. Apologies.
No.
I I met Kyle about 3 weeks ago at our first rehearsal. She was lovely, really lovely person, incredibly wonderful musician, has a beautiful sound, and really positive, very easy to work with. But before that, actually, what was really interesting is that before the first rehearsal, I had just seen her perform with another group, New Century Chamber Orchestra, and they had performed this very exciting um, audiovisual performance at the conservatory in the concert hall with the guest concertmaster Alexi Kenny. And so I was listening to this concert, watching this concert, and the music was just coming alive. And I saw Kyle as a part of that ensemble, and I knew that it was going to be such a wonderful time working with her after that, because the performance that I witnessed was
Uh-huh.
something short of miraculous. It was one of the first performances this year that I really felt um, moved, really moved, excited, frightened in some ways by the sheer grandeur of the music, and so the way it complemented the visual elements that they had
Uh-huh.
screened along the walls was amazing. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to perform some concerts with Kaio.
Great. Yeah, just reading these brief bios that I have of everyone in the group, these are a group of very talented people. I mean, my gosh, I can't wait to hear it. It sounds like it's going to be wonderful. So,
Yeah.
who else do we have here? Keith. What can you tell me about Keith?
Well, my words won't do him justice, but he is an amazing musician with just the incredible sincerity in his personality. Um, he's always very excited about the music. He's focused on working. He's focused on collaborating, which is an important thing. And I first was able to talk to him in around the new year, actually, and we were so excited to chat with me, and I was really thrilled. And I knew he and Eric had been very close for a long time, so having met him, I felt welcome in this group of amazing musicians, and it was very fun to work to rehearse with them. And
Uh-huh.
I'm very excited to perform with him as well. And it's wonderful because Kaio and Keith have known each other for a long time. They played in a quartet together for a few years, Quartet San Francisco. And so Kaio and Keith, having worked together before, and me and Eric were having worked together before, was a really nice combination, really
Hmm.
good collaboration.
Uh-huh. And now we have the man himself, Eric. I say that because he's the one that I communicate with most. I have
Of
met
course.
Keith before, and he's a great guy. But Eric is the one that well, he's from Modesto, and so
Right.
he's the one I. So you told me that you met at the Bear Valley Music Festival. Anything else you can add about what he's like musically, I should say?
I mean, personally, he's a sincere guy. He's
Yeah.
very kind, open, and just really excited to perform music. So, as a musician, he has um, really he really encourages people to perform. He really gets involved in the music, and what's really nice about that is that when you work with people who um, the energy is palpable in their playing, it changes the whole environment. The group works that much harder to work together, to create an energy, to match energies, and that kind of thing is you can't really teach it. You have to imbibe and you have to live that music.
Yes,
And
yes.
yeah, that makes him a very that makes him a very good musician to work with.
Ah, good. That's nice to hear. Yeah, it brings up, this another thought in my head that, working together to create a piece, as opposed to doing solo work, uh, calls for a different kind of interaction and sensitivity. And so, what's your impression so far? You guys coming together, it works, it feels right, works well?
Yeah, it's well, getting a quartet together for a concert like this is a risky endeavor.
Yeah.
Something about the ensemble and having four people come together with their own thoughts and opinions to try and coalesce into one vision is a challenge that's unique to this kind of repertoire. With piano trios, with duo recitals, it's somehow very easy. The voices can be very distinct and everything works. But in a quartet, you have to really want to work together to really bring your sounds to come together and create a new color altogether. Um, Working with this group is really nice because everyone wants to work together, wants to collaborate and create something um, unified, which is not a rare thing, but it's certainly it doesn't happen often. The kind of personalities that are in performance can be a little challenging at times. And what's nice about this program is that there's never been a moment like that.
Ah, yeah. So, well, going along that same line, oh, I can hear my dog barking in the background. I don't know if you can.
I can hear something along those lines.
um, do you do solo work besides playing in orchestras and in these groups?
A little bit. I have many friends who I like to collaborate, and I have been talking with a friend of mine named Jenny Ma, and we've been thinking about putting together a duo recital. Uh, it's difficult because we're both so busy, and the repertoire that we wanted to put on is challenging. So it's in the works, but it's going to take a little bit of time before we feel
Uh-huh.
ready.
Okay. Well, speaking of that repertoire, what can you tell me about the repertoire that you have planned for us for the 17th?
I'm really glad you asked. I really like this program, mostly because it's music, all music I've never really performed before. The only thing that I've played on this program before is the Adagio for Strings by Barber, and even that is only it's a portion of the larger work that he created. So to start from the top, Barber Quartet is a pretty well-known piece if you think of it in chunks. The middle movement is one of the most famous pieces in the entire orchestral repertoire because it conveys such solemn moments of solemnness, moments of solidarity. There's incredible energy, painful, powerful motions attached to that piece. It was performed at the funeral of three different presidents, and it's really powerful. But it often overshadows the other movements in the work, which are incredible. They are gorgeous. They have a ton of rhythmic drive, and so it's a real pleasure that I get to work on this piece, and I think it'll be a really nice way to start the program. Following that, we have a piece by Joseph Suk called Meditation on a Bohemian theme. And it's very interesting. It starts with a serene hymn-like opening, and you feel like you're in a church. And then you feel like Judgment Day is upon you because it turns into thunderstorms and lightning very quickly. It's very potent, very powerful, and it ends in an ascending figure. The violins really go up quite high, and you feel like, oh, I've risen, and it ends the first half. And then starting the second half, we have the other three movement quartet in this program by Coleridge Taylor Perkinson. So Coleridge Taylor Perkinson is named after the British composer Samuel Coleridge Taylor, and Samuel Coleridge Taylor was named after the British poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge. And so there's a very interesting lineage there. But the quartet itself is really amazing. It has three movements like the Barber Quartet, and they both have rhythmic drive. But what's great about it is that they contrast one another, because the Barber has a rhythmic drive that's unified. Everyone's trying to achieve the same result at the end. We want to get to the same place. And it's sort of true of the Coleridge Taylor Perkinson, except that everyone's doing something a little bit different. We are all shooting for the same goal, but it's how different things come together that's really engaging about it. Really beautiful themes. Often reminds me of a Disney soundtrack for whatever reason. So maybe you noticed that. And that's followed by the Jesse Montgomery Strum. And Jesse Montgomery is a living contemporary composer who is a phenomenal violinist and has written a lot of works. So not only Strum, but there's Starburst, Source Code. She wrote 2 rhapsodies for violin and piano. You should check these. Or actually, no, just violin, excuse me. 2 rhapsodies for violin solo. Please check these out. They're amazing. But this quartet is really phenomenal. The energy is unbelievable. I've never encountered anything in music that makes me feel so excited. Part of it is the interchange between these pits, gestures, and then the beautiful melodies that sort of contrast. And it really utilizes every voice in the ensemble, and it's phenomenal. And then we close the program with an arrangement of Piazzolla's Oblivion, which Piazzolla was a very interesting composer because he is really well known for tango, but for a good few years, he didn't write anything tango related. And it was only when he went to go study in France with Nadia Boulanger that he returned to tango, because she was quite firm that you should write tango music. And this piece is really, really beautiful and highlights Quartet San Francisco's. One the thing that they did a lot was performing tango music. And so Kaio and Keith will bring their respective experiences to that.
Ah, it makes me want to be there, which I will, of course. No, it's not. I was thinking while you were talking, I was thinking, man, he is really articulate about this music. Are there any thoughts that you will become a conductor at some point?
Conducting, I don't think is for me, but
No?
maybe I'll write some program notes or something. I mean, conductor's job is very, very challenging, and
Yes.
I think I would rather be in the creation of the sound. I mean, they certainly create the sound as well, but
Right,
I'd
right,
like to give them a sound for them to work with, as opposed to having
right.
to draw
Yeah,
something from a group of people.
yeah. It just brought to mind because of the way you describe things and how beautifully you describe them. It's like,
Oh, thank you.
that sounds like it. So anyway, there's one thing you don't know about or didn't know about this program, which is meet Nicole Slater. Nicole Slater is an artist, a very gifted artist here in Modesto, and she's going to be joining the Snergy group, and she's going to be painting while you're playing. So she's very good at abstracts. I don't know if she'll do an absolute abstract based on the music, or if she'll do an impression of the group. But anyway, she'll be there and hopefully be part of the show. So not
Very
hopefully, she
excited to
will
meet
be.
her.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I think this is really cool because I really enjoy when different uh, different artistic endeavors combine. And I'm curious if she'll do some art for each piece or as a concert collectively, because if it's for the entire concert, there's going to be some very interesting colors on that page, on that
Right. Yeah.
canvas.
Well, I'm anxious to see what she's going to come up with too, because it could be either. We've left it open. We've left it open for her, so
That's
she can go in any direction. So anyway, that kind of covers the show that we're putting on here on the 17th. Is there anything else that you would like to say or talk about or brag about or?
Well, this is a program that I don't think is ever gonna really happen again. The way that this has been constructed, it's a very unique event. So I guess I'm just gonna plug the concert again because if you don't go, you may never get to see it again.
Yeah, well, I hope.
Come by.
Yeah. So anyway, I look forward to seeing you a week from today, and I thank you for coming on for this brief moment here. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you so much for your questions, and I look forward to performing for
yeah,
Modesto.
yeah. So I'll see you then, and we can say goodbye for now. Is that okay?
I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Nice to chat with you, David.
Okay. Same here.